But all right, you ready for this thing? Here we
Yep.
go. We're becoming YouTubers. What up, everybody? I'm Chris from Remix Island, and today I have the fabulous Joey Harkum visiting me from Annapolis,
Yo,
Maryland. Yeah.
what's up, everybody?
For anybody that doesn't know, Joey Harkum's an amazing singer songwriter. I don't know what genre to call you, Joe. I'll let you explain in a second. But dear friend of mine, amazing musician, and I've been lucky to get to know Joey over the years. First time I met you, I believe, was a tour with the Bumpin' Uglies,
hmm
and that was a bit ago.
Colorado Springs was the first show we played together, and Brandon had COVID, so it was just us two, first day of the tour.
That's right. I forgot that he got COVID in the beginning of the tour. Oh my God, Joey, what would you describe your genre if you had to put yourself in a genre, which I hesitate to do, but what would you describe your music as?
I lean towards Americana just because it's kind of like it's singer-songwriter acoustic music, but it taps into a bunch of kind of genres, But I feel like kind of the definition of Americana is like a little bit everything. So but I would when I tell people that don't know me, um, I just tell them I'm a singer songwriter.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife and I have a huge, huge record collection, and there's always these. And she has it. I'm not organized at all, but she's very organized. So, at one point it was alphabetical, and then we went to genre. And some of the hardest stuff to define, we ended up creating a singer songwriter section because I do think singer songwriter is good for somebody like you because there is so much. Americana, I think, is a good description of your music too, but singer songwriter, I think, because there's all these people, they do all this, like, kind of, the genre is sort of eclectic, but the anchor is actually the songwriting itself, you know?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we always tell like in the studio and with the band, like we have like no nowadays we travel so much. I have some guys that fill in pretty regularly, but whenever we have like a new guy that comes on the team, we say like we're all just hugging the song. Like everybody's just
Yeah.
hugging the song. So that's kind of really it is like just driven lyrically driven and
That's
yeah, the
yeah. I was
song.
I was gonna say I would describe your music too as very lyric forward. Like the lyrics are one of the probably the most important part of the tune, and that's why I think singer songwriter is that genre, right? Because the songs are like, it's not like a techno song that would be like popping if the lyrics were different or something like that. But anyways, people can
Yeah,
check you out.
you're not dancing at the club to my stuff.
But you,
I get you moving, but you're more likely to cry.
yeah, you'll move everybody to tears, which I've seen happen to my own bandmates. I won't air anybody out, but anyways, so obviously I've gotten to know your music, I've gotten to know you, but I also met you in this scene that we sort of find ourselves in, which is this American reggae scene, if I can call
hmm
it that. And I know that you have a history in this scene before you arrived to where you are today. So I was wondering if you could tell a little of your story about how the hell you ended up in the American reggae scene.
Yeah, my old band was called Pasadena, and we kind of started. We were like the second generation, I guess, of like East Coast, Mid Atlantic bands in that world. So, like, Ballyhoo Pacifier had been touring for a few years before we started, but I came up with like Bumpin' Uglies and Tropodelic and bands like Oogie Wah Wah and um, No Dreads was the one for Virginia Beach. It was this whole group of guys in like between like New York and Virginia that were kind of trying to get out there. So we do a lot of show swapping and stuff. And my old music was a little more kind of like dirty reggae rock, a
Hmm.
little more rock. But I still did every album had a couple acoustic songs on it, but more geared towards that stuff. And we were kind of like a party band, and um, the band broke up almost 10 years ago now,
Mm,
and but I just kept going. Essentially, when the last original member of the old band left, then I just started going on my own name.
gotcha.
And but from coming up with some of these bands that are like doing really, really well now, I I wouldn't say that like it wasn't like nepotism or anything, where like I just knew them and they took me on the road, but we had a relationship. So I got pretty lucky to get some of my first, like second year in, I started doing a lot of stuff with Bumpin' Uglies. Brandon would take me on tour and Trop would take me on tour. And that's how I met you guys. And I met a ton
Yep.
of other great guys through like them, really. So I kind of got thrust back in by accident just because I was touring with my friends.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but I feel like that scene honestly is like there's like the pop country scene, and then there's like that whole rock boat, like rock and roll. I don't know if you would call it pop rock. I guess rock is just pop mostly, but I feel like anybody who doesn't fit into those two places becomes in that American reggae scene almost.
yeah. Well, you brought up something that I've thought about for a while. So I didn't mention it, but I also play guitar in a band called Article Sound System, and we're a Florida band. And in the American reggae scene, there's kind of this. To me, there's almost like, not to dumb it down into three sounds, but there's sort of like a California sound. There's, like you said, there's this mid Atlantic and Northeast kind of sound. And then there's a Florida sound that to me is a little bit of like California mixed with the mid Atlantic kind of sound. But what I do find interesting from all the big boys in the mid Atlantic and the Northeast is that it I find that those bands to be a little bit more lyric forward. You do have in their shows those acoustic moments, like Bumpin' Uglies and Brandon Hardesty has an entire acoustic album. So it's like the thread of what you're doing now, I feel like has been there all along, and I've always loved the sound of the bands from the East Coast, Pacifier and Ballyhoo and Bumpin' Uglies and Joey Harkum and Tropodelic. It's different.
Yeah, I mean, even Elevators, Jackson has like a bunch of acoustic stuff. I don't know how much he
Mhm.
does nowadays, but back in the day, he'd play a lot of acoustic music.
And they've developed an amazing sound. Some of those bands I forget, like the Elevators have gotten so big and they're such big dogs now in the scene. I almost forget they're from the East Coast sometimes, even though they're from Boston, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Well, all right. So the reason we're on this call though is because I've delved down this crazy road myself, and somehow I ended up in the Spotify Top 50 Country Song playlist, trying to work on a gig band set list to make some money around town. And I started hearing some of the songs, and I was like, some of these aren't terrible. Now, me personally, my country that I get into most of the time is more outlaw country and some older stuff. I really love Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, Waylon Jennings, that kind of stuff. So I was wondering, do you, in your personal life, listen to any country music at all? And if you do you have an artist that you enjoy the most, or?
Pretty similar, like, Hands on the Wheel, Willie Nelson was me and my wife's first dance. We love
Oh
Willie
wow,
Nelson.
okay,
I grew up, my dad played a lot of Johnny Cash,
oh
a
yeah,
lot of Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings and stuff. So all that kind of highwayman stuff I grew up on, and then nowadays I'm super into Tyler Childers. I was very lucky. I was touring with I used to tour a lot with my buddy Keith Harkin. He's an Irish singer songwriter who tours out here all the time, and he was like living in Venice Beach, and he found Tyler Childers like super early,
wow.
and he would cover Feathered Indians on the tour, and I'm like, man, this song is awesome. Like, who's this guy? So he started showing him to me, and he went and saw him at what's that place in Jonah Tree? Is it Jonah Tree in California? That park? It's like a really famous place.
Oh no, what? Oh my God, why am I? It's like,
There's a bar out there, like a honky tonk everybody plays. It's like Fred and Sally's or something like that. But
Joshua Tree.
yeah, Joshua Tree. There's a little bar out there where all these guys play. I forget the name of it, but he had saw him there kind of by accident and fell in love with him. And then, I mean, this must have been 13, 15 years ago. um, he had a show in Los Angeles on our only day off. And long story short, um, I kind of snuck in. I knew the door guy at the Troubadour, coincidentally. Fucking
Awesome.
crazy. Like, so random. And he snuck me in. And first time I saw him was like in front of like a couple hundred people. It was amazing. And I just been hooked. So he's like, him and Jason Isbell, I think, are my big guys that I'm really into right now. But all
Awesome.
the other stuff. I don't listen to any pop country. I never even heard the the song we're doing before you showed it to me.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to talk about. I don't know that I had either. And, one thing I do think about the country genre, it's a big tent. There's a lot of different stuff in there that gets called country. But then we've got like, the big dogs. And our band over the past couple of years, the band I tore an article, we've played in Nashville a couple times. And I get so excited when I go to Nashville because I feel like it's a place where like the music business and the industry is still like actually alive and powerful, and you
Yeah.
get there and you just kind of feel the star power of like the famous music stars, And so I've been feeling that energy when I go there and just like, dang, man, it might not be my cup of tea, but I want a bar. I want to own a bar on Broadway or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's cool. And anyways, like I said, I started making a set list for a gigging band around town, and so I wanted to include stuff that I figured that your average listener is checking out.
Mhm.
And I started flipping through some of these songs, and I was like, the thing about country music in Nashville, and I've always been into this in music. I'm a lyric forward guy myself. I like music. I don't want to say like almost predominantly for the lyrics. And as I started flipping through some of these songs, I thought to myself, I'm like, the songwriting here still is unbelievable. Like this is still, it's still Nashville. These are some of the best songwriters in the world. And I found a couple of the songs that I was like, I dig. And I heard the song that we're doing together that we're going to talk about just in case. And I thought of you right away, Joey. I was like, this song is so beautiful. I don't know if I don't know that I will ever be, or if I am throwing on a Morgan Wallen T-shirt and going to a concert or something. But I heard the song for what it is itself, and I was like, "This is a cool thing." And I started thinking about it, and long before I ever even tried to make a better recording of this song, I had sort of reggae-fied it a little bit for this gig band. And do you remember when I ran into you at Everwild last year? And we were there hanging out for a brief second, and I said, "Joey, you think you would ever sing a Morgan Wallen song?" And I think you're just a kind friend to me, and you were like, "Yeah, whatever." And and that was honestly the only spark I needed. I was like, Joey kind of said yes, so I went home and I was like, I'm gonna work on this song and try to get it sounding good. So that's sort of the spark where this project that I'm trying to do now came from. And yeah, I was wondering, I was curious, once I started really hounding you and you heard the song, what did you think about it the first time you heard Just in Case?
Well,
And you can be totally
first,
honest, man.
first of all, the I don't know if it's luck or just because of the kids. I don't play a lot of bar gigs anymore, just because I just when I'm home, I gotta like hold down the fort. But it's the running joke here. All my friends here play gigs at bars, and you know how it is. And like the running joke is like some drunk fucker will come up and be like, "You know any Morgan Wallen?"
Right. Of course.
I tell you what, I honestly like, you're my friend, man. I'll do anything for you, you know. And and at first I was just like, in my head, I was like, yeah, it'll be fun. Like you were really into it, and I was like, yeah, it'll be fun. Like I heard your version and I really liked it. And but then once I started learning the song on I don't know, did he write it? He probably didn't fucking write it, to be
There's like
honest.
six, he's listed as a writer, but as with a lot of the Nashville songs now,
Right.
there's like 25 people on there. I don't know. It's in
Yeah.
our little deal memo, all the songwriters, but
But once I started like we recorded the song, and I kind of was just like in the headspace of our version, which is like a awesome reggae tune, like rock tune. It's like live and dancey. It's fucking great. Um, but when I started learning the acoustic version of it, and playing that, it is a beautiful song. It's really cool, and it just reminds me of like my own personal experience, like being young and like the first time you're like in love and you just, it's not going to work out, but you don't want to let it go. And like, you can't imagine not having that person, but like, it just doesn't work. So like to me, playing it has been kind of fun because it reminds me of that feeling from back when.
Yeah, it's
Now,
kind of keeping the door open, is kind of the.
yeah, that's a really cool song. I really like it, and I can relate to it a lot from like past relationships and stuff. And I have grown to really like the song.
That's awesome, man. And I gotta say that's the same thing that happened to me. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's, and in general, because this you starting this with me, Joey, has been awesome, and it's created a spark in me. And now I'm trying to do this with some other folks because I've I've realized that if I listen to some of this music and kind of separate how I feel about maybe a particular artist or whatever, and look at the song for what it is, that it's a really different way to kind of check out the songs and see them for what they are, and try to see if there's
Hmm.
something, and anyway, man, I'm so glad we did it together. I think you crushed it. Everybody that I've shown it to is just like, oh my God, he's the perfect guy to sing this song. I think you nailed it. You sound amazing.
I'm excited. I tried to emulate him a little bit as far as like the I guess like the lower register for the verses, and then a little bit like I have like a Maryland mumble anyway, but try to kind of really tap into the accent a tiny bit more than I normally would have, just because it kind of the way it flows, you want to kind of be like, it's almost like the way it flows is almost like a hip hop song kind of. So you want
Yeah.
to just like roll. It's like the ball's rolling, and you don't want to like you don't want to fuck up that rhythm with like a hard T or something.
Yeah.
You kind of want to like it all has to roll like a. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was
Absolutely,
fun
man.
to do, and I've been like find myself just singing it around the house. It's funny.
That's so good, man. Well, I love it. I'm glad that you humored me and we went down this route, and I'm really excited for people to hear it.
Yeah,
And
I was telling somebody uh the other day, I was like, man, if I don't know how easy it is to crank out these things, but I was like, we should do a whole cover album. Like
yeah,
just me and you.
I want to do more of them.
Be
I've got
super
a
fun.
bunch. I've got a bunch. I'm queuing up to work with everybody, and the process. Just in case anybody's curious, it was really cool. I kind of created the arrangement, and then I recorded the guitars and the bass at my house. My wife Lauren played the ukulele that's on there, which
Nice.
is pretty cool. And then I took my favorite drummer in the world, Mr. Adam Camp from Article
Yay.
Sound System, and I took him over to the studio that we use all the time in town. It's called Seven Hills. Our buddy Dean Fishback. We've recorded some of our best stuff there, and he did the drums there. And then Dean is also a phenomenal keyboard player, and he replaced all of my rough keyboard parts with like awesome stuff, and he mixed it, and then we had it mastered by some really great people. Uh, there's a mixing house and mastering house here in Deerfield Beach, Florida, called Nico's House. It's Nico and Rob Marks, and they do some of the biggest. They do a lot in the reggae world, but also lots of big songs in pop and hip hop. And I guess you'd have to pull up their site to see everything they've done. But like they're like I think Nico mixed like Welcome to Jam Rock, if you can imagine, like in reggae world, like he does all
Yeah.
the
I mean
Prodigy, all the big stuff. So
it
we've
is
got
top
some.
notch, man. It's a top notch recording for sure. I
Uh,
can't believe how good I sound on it.
Well, and I'm glad you do because it was one of my goals too. I think you sound great all the time, and obviously we want the singer to sound the best. So, anyways, it's been a really fulfilling project. I'm so grateful for you to do it with me, and I think
Yeah,
people are
me
going to go
too.
nuts for it, man. Um, but before we hop on here, I did want to ask you, aside from our tune that we're doing, did you have anything you want to plug to the 40 people that are following me right now online? You got any tour dates or other music stuff you want to do?
um Well, the next thing is our song. So
Yeah,
I'm going on tour with Sat Sang in April. I'm very, very excited about that. I been a fan of his for a long time. So I'm
yeah.
gonna be direct supporter on his 10-year anniversary tour. Um and I'm doing a bunch of headline stuff in between those two runs I'm doing with him. So really just working on a new record kind of secretly. I don't have anything to show for it yet, but I got a couple tracks done. So really just kind of trying to use my time in the new year before we get busy as well as I can. So
Beautiful.
yeah,
Well, I'll close it up with this. If you're going to support Joey and I on our thing, just know that we're real life people, real life musicians. We're family men. We got kids. We recorded this song. There's no AI on this thing. There's real Hammond B3 organ. These are real instruments and real acoustic
yeah,
guitars and ukuleles. And so if ever you were going to stream something or help some folks out, do it for us, because I promise you we worked hard on it and it's real deal stuff. So make sure you go check out Just in Case, the
yeah.
Joey
Put that
Harkum
clip on the
version.
front of this video, dog.
Yeah, right. But Joey, I
Yeah,
love you
check it
so
out.
much,
It's gonna
man.
be awesome. I'm so excited.
And I'll see you when you're down here in March, brother.
Yeah, can't wait, man.
All right, my man. So good talking with you.
All right, brother. Peace. Listen to the song, y'all.